Well, my friends, here we go again. It went very fresh, you know. You could mean there's months between from my videos, from one video to the next. Summer, barefoot, you know, without a t-shirt, and today it's very cold. Comparison today, some has asked me about the sizes of balls, you know, because there are different sizes, if I can measure them up, and also to use older balls, you know. Is it useful? How long does they last? What is possible? What is not possible? You know, that we will discuss today. Now we go to the airport court. I mean, really fresh, you know, that is the life in the mountains. Very fresh again, you know. It's like October now, yeah. It feels really like October, November, the winter comes. So we are close to the airport court. I have to show you something because we walk now here. Watch this. In that building in there, there has eaten Mick Jagger from the Rolling Stones a steak, you know, and Charlie Watts. Here in, you know, that building. We are 1 minute from the airport court away. Yeah, around 1 minute when you walk fast. So, yeah, here they were. Can you say when you play the airport court, 1 minute away there he was, Mick Jagger. So, to tell, before we go into the court, to tell something about that, I can tell you, I have to watch because I know people all here. You know, if they watch, can greet. So you have to understand where I come from, you know. That is an important thing because then you understand how I think about all those things with sizes, with weights and all that stuff. The thing is, you know, I'm playing since 1991 around. Street ball, only street ball. And I learned it in the streets, you know, really in a street. I have shown this, a street where cars were driving. And there was a ring in the stone wall, and there I learned it. Before, I had no court, I had no ring, I had no basketball. And there we dribbled with a football, you know. The football was our basketball. And we only dribbled, you know, a garbage was the ring, you know, such things. And I wished that I would have a basketball, you know. So to understand me, I remember always this back. If I would have a basketball, doesn't matter if it is a €4 ball or €100 ball, it is a basketball, you know. Doesn't matter what, it is a basketball. And also on holiday, I played with beach volleyballs, you know. With beach volleyballs, I played basketball. Same there. Give me the cheapest rubber ball, but it is a basketball, you know. So this is how I learned it, how I started it. Airplane comes, you know, that's why it's called the airport. Oh, you see it? Nice. So this is how I started it, you know. And at my time around back then in my area, if you would have shown up with a weight, you know, to weigh in a ball, I mean, you would get kicked out of the place. You would be the most stupid nerd in there, you know. Even if you would say, oh, I measure up a ball, I weigh in a ball, you know, that would be impossible back then, you know. That is where I come from. But you have to understand, back then we had no YouTube, there was nothing, no internet, nothing. So you had no information about anything. Maybe you had luck to see a little bit on television, yeah. There was nothing, no Netflix, nothing. Only you could buy some papers, you know, and read in papers. That was the only information what you had. Maybe when you were in a club you had more information, but as a street boy you had nothing, yeah. And so there you would have laughed out someone shows up, oh, I weigh in a ball. And the same with a band around the ball. I mean, better you will never ever show up on that court again. That it was, you know. It was all the time. Yeah, and that you have to understand how I'm thinking about that. We back then, we took a ball, we go over, oh yeah, boy, the ball feels heavy, or boy, this is big, not mine. And it was over, it was finished, you know. That it was. Nowadays it's completely different, yeah. So here we are. Now the last meters, then we are in at our airport court. It will start to rain. Yeah, you see that. The weather, it is only a question of time, but right now it is stabil, I don't know in English. Yeah, and that was the time, and also with the sizes, the regulations, what is going on, NBA, Europe, this, that, and so, you know. To me back then, and to many others here, there almost to all others, there existed only two things, yeah, street ball, and I don't mean the 3-3 tournaments, because of that we never heard of back then, that didn't exist, you know. I think Adidas started this in 1994, but I played before, you know, when I remember back. And the thing is, street ball was to have a court, doesn't matter if it was a cage court or if it was a ring in a street, in a garage, doesn't matter, you know. And there exists only that street ball, and the other thing was the NBA. All other didn't exist to us, you know. If there is in Europe a game, a league, completely uninteresting. The NBA were the best. That was our feeling back then, and all other was nothing, uninteresting. Also the molten balls, you know. I've seen a molten ball in a paper, you know. There were a basketball magazine, so it's called. And there I have seen in Germany in the league one time, oh, this is a molten ball. Alone the look was so awful to me. I would never have shown up with a molten ball, you know. Because back then you have known I shown up with the laughable league. It was back then, so, you know. Only NBA. NBA is the best and all other doesn't exist. That was our point. And back then it was really so. And now we check in at the nice court. The green wet. So, and you have seen it back then with the Dream Team, you know, 1992. They blast out every country when first time the NBA player showed up. You have seen what happened then. I was never a Jordan fan, but I always respected him. That was also a thing, you know. We had our leagues, yeah, in the NBA, the teams, and players which we didn't like. But when it comes heart to heart, and we have to say NBA against others, we always were Jordan. He will blast them out. Even if we didn't like him, we said he will blast all of them out, you know. And that was the time. And so you have to understand, when I'm showing up today and I see people come in with the basketball shoes, for example, sit down, and then they take on their basketball shoes that they don't get dirty, because outside you cannot walk with them. You know, I always have this back in my mind, what would happen back then. But it doesn't mean it is better back then than today, but only to understand where I come from, you know. And so now we will check it out. I have 3 balls here, 2 older balls, 1 very old ball. More older you cannot do it, I think. And yeah, and the other ball is a few years only old. And I have a new ball, the same model that I can show you. Let's do it. So here I have 2 very, very old balls. One is not that old, this one, the Spalding Platinum series. One of the best rubber balls I have ever used. It is around 4 years around. Is this ball old now? It has absolutely nothing to do with the new Platinum series. It is a 100% other ball. More other it doesn't go. I have the new version also here. So this ball is used up, as you see, yeah, but not that much. And here I have a ball, the Charlotte Hornets rubber ball from Spalding. And this ball, if you don't know my videos, I cannot remember exactly when I got it, but right now I think this ball is 29 years old, you know, 29 years old. I think I got it in 1995, because in 96 I got the NBA Ultimate ball, you know, the gold NBA ball from back then, but I had this ball before, so it has to be 1995. Yeah, and in 93, 94 I had an American rubber ball which jumped so high, but also this America, the USA, was to us the greatest. And why? As a child, because they all had all things what in Europe we didn't have, you know, and they had things 1 year before we had it in Europe. For example, wrestling, the figures, you know, you have seen that on television back then with Günther Zapf, and in German you will know the commentators. And yeah, that was You have seen the figures in there from the wrestling stars, for example, and you didn't get it here in Europe. Maybe a year later, half a year later, it was the first time that you have seen it in the shop here. And that was always the same with all things going on. So the US to us kids was always the greatest with games, video games, all that stuff, you know. We were always the last here in Austria, yeah, or in Germany. And also with basketball cards, you know, I collected them. I started in 1994 with the Flair cards, you know. I always liked the Flair and not the Upper Deck. And we went as kids into the in how it's called, where you can buy things to smoke, you know, in a smoke shop, you know, a shop where they sell cigarettes. There you got the basketball packages, and with your pocket money you could buy one or maybe two in 1 month, what I remember back, and that was our time. So, and this ball is also very used up, but still very good playable. And there we come to the point, it depends to the ball, you know, rubber ball, also rubber ball, composite indoor outdoor ball, or leather ball, yeah, or composite indoor, only indoor ball, yeah. And when you ask how long can you use it, we also want to know when it gets roughed up. We don't want to buy a new ball, yeah, we want to use it longer, maybe 1, 2, 3 years. I can tell you, I think in the other way around, not how long lasts the ball now. So I ask myself, is it the right ball for the right service? Because there you feel how quick it will get over. When I, for example, show up with a DF1000 Legacy or Evolution on a rough asphalt court and only will play this ball there, yeah, then it will get over after 3-4 weeks. You will see the damages, you know. But when I play this ball on the smoothest rubber court, where are no stone walls, nothing around, no dirt in, yeah, then it will last months and it still looks pretty good, you know. And there, this is how I decide how I want to use a ball, you know. And when you, for example, only have an asphalt court, yeah, then you have to say, I don't want to use there an indoor ball. It makes no sense, you know. Then choose a composite indoor-outdoor ball. That would be the best option, that your ball lasts as long as possible. But I know what people wanted to say. When it gets used up, it depends, you know. For example, this, you see the babbling still. And this ball, I have shown you this. This was landing in the river all the time at my home court. I had to fish it out. Only asphalt. We played always this ball, you know. We sit on, we played with our foot, you know, all that stuff, yeah. And so, still, it has the babbling. Still, it feels nice. And that is the point. Then I say to myself, yeah, this is great. But when I see people, when they have a composite indoor-outdoor ball, yeah, or an only indoor ball, composite, and the ball is so roughed up that you cannot read anything anymore. It is like a worn out thing, you know what I mean? Completely over. There I think buy a new ball. But there we go. How long to use a ball? Yeah, how long you want to use it? It is up to you, you know. What you like, what you love. When you love the complete roughed up ball, then it is great. When you say, no, I want always a fresh ball, then it is great. It costs more, yeah. Do that what you like most. But the thing is, when it gets used up, yeah, the babbling is away, then the ball gets a complete other feeling. It has nothing to do with the original ball, yeah. But there are balls which work better and not. And to me, for example, I don't want to damage my balls, you know, because of course I could show then, wow, this is so roughed up now you can play this. I mean, you know, that costs. That is, to me, I come from another time. We had no basketball, you know. When we had one, I watched to the basketball. I didn't want to damage it, you know. And so I will also do it not now to take the 1000 and play it on the worst court, you know, because I know then in 3 months this ball is away, you know, and that I want to avoid. But I still play it on asphalt, but only sometimes and on the best courts. And that is very important. So, break. So, back again. So I would always use a ball which is the right ball for your service, because then you have the best of all. your ball will last as long as possible. When you have the wrong ball there, it will get damaged quickly, you know. And the better the place, the longer the ball lasts when you have the right ball. When you have the dirtiest and roughest street court with stone walls, yeah, then even a rubber ball will not last that long, you know. But of course, when you have the right ball, it gets used up, it will still feel good, you know. And that is the thing. And then it will last months, maybe half a year, maybe a year. You know, it depends if you only play this ball. But my recommendation is always to have 5 balls as a street baller. But it depends how many courts you have. We have over 30 here with the underground courts, 32, normally 27 original courts, which are for free. And the thing is, 5 balls, I tell it always again. 2 rubber balls, 1 cheap one of the best rubber balls, 2 composite indoor-outdoor balls, a middle composite indoor-outdoor, 1 of the absolute best, and an only indoor ball. And then you can mix it up for all your courts what you have. And then I guarantee you, you always have the right ball for every condition, by rain, by snow, asphalt, smooth places, rough places with stone walls. Then you can choose the cheapest rubber ball or the best indoor ball. All between those 5. And when you mix that up with 5 balls, I guarantee you, you have a year, 2 year, absolutely always great balls. In my opinion, much better to pay 1 ball, even if it's the best ball, but it will still get roughed up when you play every day or every second day, third day, doesn't matter, the same ball, you know. And there I get the best out of it. And that is the thing. And then you have the best feeling for it, you know. Because also when street ball is the passion number 1 what you have. To me, for example, street ball is number 1. And when I know this, then I know when I get money, the most important thing to me, before I buy anything else, I buy a basketball. Because that is my prioritization, my passion number 1. I don't know how it's called in English. You know what I mean? Before, for example, when you order 3 times a pizza in a month, yeah, then let the pizza away 3 times a month, and then you can almost pay a Wilson Evolution ball. You know, to me that would be more important than anything else. Before I buy clothes, before I buy food, I take the money and buy a ball, you know. And that it is. And when this is your passion, then you can spend every 3-4 months 50 euro for a new ball, for example, or for a second ball, yeah. Because it is not like a new car or that expensive, you know. But I know, I understand the people, what they mean. But, you know, to me, for example, it is very, very tough to test balls for the long term, you know, because I don't want to damage them. Of course, I could show up with an indoor ball and play it only on asphalt, and then it is completely away, and then I can say, wow, good or not, and my ball is damaged. I don't want that, you know. I take care of my balls, and they all feel still good, you know. And for example, some are better, some are not better. And I always try to use the balls up the same, you know. I always take other balls every time, and so all balls get used up the same, you know what I mean? I don't play this ball 20 times and the other ball 1 time. I play it always the round, always the same, you know. And that it is, and there I can always show you things. And for example, I take it by feeling. This still feels good, you know, roughed up, but still very nice to play. And other balls, they are really not good. For example, the new version, and this ball I will bring now here. Then we can check out the difference. Let's do it. So here we have them. The old one, excellent rubber ball. The new one, the complete other side. And that is also a thing. You know, when you buy a ball this year, maybe the next year the same ball is complete other. Maybe from the weight, maybe they have done something on there, that the signature is other. There is always a change in there, you know. And that is also really awful, because when I tell about a ball next year, it is like a other ball sometimes. And here really this is extreme. So, also a thing from back then, Spalding, Spalding was the gold standard. There was nothing else, only Spalding. Why? Spalding was in NBA, NBA was the best, period. That was to us, And Spalding really was the high-end quality to us back then. When you had a Spalding thing that was like, wow, expensive, the best of the best what you have now. That was to us. Nowadays, what I read, what I hear, Spalding is really not the household name. Younger players say always to me often, Spalding really, really bad, put away. On the street courts, people show up with a molten ball. I also see this, that would be unthinkable back then. With a molten ball, you would have been kicked out, I've seen rough times also, I was growing up as a skateboarder, and in that park, skateboarding, roller skating was always a little bit similar, the same clothing style, white clothes, the same music style, the same attitude, passion. Street skaters had no park, they had to play in the streets. Street ballers had no court, we had to play in the street where was the ring. People always said, it is too loud, go away, don't dribble. And the same with skateboarders, too loud, go away, this and that. You know what I mean? And in the skate parks, I tell you that, there I have seen things, you got beat up for nothing. When you were showing up there and watched the wrong guy, then you got beat up. I have friends, they got beat up, they had broken ribs, broken jaws for nothing, There were guys coming in and said, you go out, you have to pay. Chilling back then. When you didn't pay, then you got beat up. One time, guy came in, we were 3 guys, but he was on steroids, said you and you go out, and I asked why. He took my hat and he threw me 2 meters into a net, And there happened really, really bad stuff. So I've seen, there was also back then, I never understood that, inline skaters against skateboarders. Skateboarders never liked roller skaters. One time, I had really tough friends back then, and it was like a place here, but 3 times as big, and all people said to the net, they were all scared because the roughest and toughest people from the town came in, and I was in with guys which are really tough, and they were sitting also, and I was the youngest in there, and I thought, hey, what's going on? And he said to me, psst, psst, do nothing, don't watch to him, not watching at him. And I thought, wow, what's going on there? When my guy says this, then it really have. And then I have seen why. Because then they entered roller skaters in, and before they could enter in, those guys run to them and they throw them to the ground and they beat them up to hospital for nothing. There were the times back then what I experienced. And so to this ball now. Rubber, completely ugly. This is really, there I can understand when people tell me Spalding is awful, because the price of this ball, the price is completely a shame. I have showed this ball one time, the quality is really awful, the rubber material, look how used it up is, I don't know if you see it now in the light, but it's really, really ugly, really, really ugly. Against this ball, complete other material, complete other lines, same platinum. Okay, it was NBA back then, how long I have this ball, but this ball, is made in Thailand. Spalding, Platinum Series made in Thailand. Spalding, Platinum Series, and now watch, made in Vietnam. Same model, complete other material, complete other ball, complete in another country, and that is always the thing. And then this new ball, I don't know why they make this, maybe that it gets roughed up in 2 months and you have to pay a new ball. I don't know, back then, in my opinion, they had better balls than nowadays, Why they do it, I don't know, maybe they want to earn money, that balls get used up quickly, some balls. Maybe, why do they change all the time the things, maybe they have, what is allowed or not with the chemical products, what is in there, you know what I mean? Maybe they have things where they say this is not allowed anymore, this is cheaper, this is more expensive, now we change it. I don't know why they are doing that. And And of course it is handmade, you know. And I can tell you, the balls from Thailand, I have a lot of molten balls which are made in Thailand and also this, and they are always good in quality, you know, most of the times really good in quality. And there it depends, you know, what workers are there. Have they the passion to do it? Have they the time to do it, you know? And so it can happen that you buy one ball, the same ball, which is good. I have seen that with the DF500 Axel, for example, and other balls. Mine is very good, and I have seen the other model really not good made. The lines are not good, this is not good, you know. So yeah, that it is. And with the sizes of the balls, it's the last thing now. Let's do it. So last thing, the sizes of a ball. I will now take a band and measure up the balls in the future, that you see that. I have done this always by feeling, you know. You go to the ball, and when you have a lot of different balls, then I know, wow, the ball feels bigger than not. I have never measured up balls, you know, because when you know now where I come from, that is still sometimes in my head, and I think, wow, when I show up here with a band, what do people think, you know? That would be, you know what I mean. I come from the early 90s. But I have my opinion. I have balls where I really think, wow, they are so big, you know. And I will prove if this is right. And normally I don't like the bigger balls, yeah. For example, the Charlotte Hornets balls is maybe the smallest balls, and it is the lightest balls of them all. But I don't know why. Maybe because it's so used up that it has lost a few grams. I don't know. But it's the same with the air, you know. I never measure the pressure in a ball. You know, that would, now I have to sit on my ball. Not good for the ball, but now my feet gets hurt. So I always pump up air with a normal air pump, you know. I don't have this electronic thing to measure up the pressure, you know. To me, this is like, I understand when people do this, you know, I have no problem with that. But to me, for example, you know, I pump up air and then I press and watch, yeah, this is enough or not. It is easy, you know. Don't need, oh, now I have to watch on the clock or on the numbers with the pressure. Oh, now it is right, no it is not. And then you go to the court and maybe it is not. If I would have done this with my fingers, I would know it, you know. And this is the same, for example, at mini golf. When you play mini golf, I see guys there, when they finish the round with 18 holes, they put out their smartphone and they put in the 18 hole numbers, how many strikes they have. 2 strikes, 3, 4, 7. I mean, I'm much more quick when I think with my head. You know, when I make this, the addition, I think, with the numbers in my head, I'm much more quick. You know, but on me, I pump the air in and I always feel that I have a little bit of air. You see that? A little bit. And that is to me the right thing. And normally that is good. And when I see it is jumps too high, too low, then I put a little bit more in or out. You know, this is how my because I come from the early 90s. You know, but I understand nowadays people this complete other time is also okay and good. But that you have to understand, you know. And so, for example, it is dangerous when you put in complete air that it is completely filled, and when you throw it also, then it can explode, you know, and that can make ear damage, you know. Also, I don't want to use up the roughest ball, which is very old, because I don't trust if this not can explode the inner thing, you know, not this can break, but the inner thing. You know, because that is so loud that you have ear damage. I already have ear damage left and right, you know. I have tinnitus since 13 years now, and so I don't want that this happens. So I always take balls which I think are good, you know. But I always show you the balls. I show you how they look now. I play it on different courts. You always see the progress, how it works, you know. For example, I have a video when I got the DF1000 Legacy and I played it the first time, but in my language. Maybe I show you this one time. And so, yeah, that it is. Now I will play a little bit, airport code, and then we will see us again. Till then, bye and ciao.
The scene is getting crowded, I'm a robber on